Namaste, beloved. How are you? My name is Syma, and I am a sacred feminine and spiritual coach, healer, and Amazon bestselling author of the books Goddess Reclaimed and Manifest Soulmate Love. And it is my honor and blessing to support highly sensitive and soulful women all over the world and healing and transforming your greatest inner blocks and manifesting your boldest dreams and flourishing into the goddesses that you truly are. So today's topic is one that comes up so much in my healing practice. And this is all about the essential need for us to have self-compassion. Because those of us, whether you're a woman or a man, right, who are very highly sensitive and soulful empaths, we tend to be so compassionate when it comes to others. It's so easy and it's so natural for us. But unfortunately, oftentimes, we don't extend that compassion back to ourselves. And when that happens, what we feel and experience in our outer life is that the things we want to manifest, we might find that there's a lot of frustration and struggle, blocks around that. We might have relationships that are off balance, where the giving and receiving isn't really there, honoring both parties. We might even have people in our life that are quite disrespectful or even hurtful to us, right? And this often happens because we're not extending that compassion to ourselves, my loves. And it's so essential to do this. That's why I'm inspired to do this video for you, because I just see it so much in my clients. Gone through this myself in my own journey. When I didn't have self-compassion, the voice that was in my head was a very, very abusive voice. It was like a bully living up there. And once I started embarking on my healing path and did a lot of inner child healing work, I realized that that voice was the voice. It was like the culmination of all the unkindness and abuse that I experienced in my childhood. So if you've been following my journey, or if you're new, I can share that I had, my parents were very abusive growing up. So thankfully, my relationship with them has healed and transformed, in large part due to this forgiveness and compassion work that I've done first with myself and then with them. But on this journey, I realized that the self-loathing that I had, the way I spoke to myself, was so extremely critical and mean and just self-pitying that voice was the voice of all the people who had abused me. My father and my mother mainly were the ones who were just very mentally and emotionally and physically, verbally abusive. And because of that internalization, right, how I processed that as a child, all that abuse, thinking that it was me, it's my fault, I made myself wrong, made myself guilty. That voice, as you grow, right, you think it's your voice, but it's really not, my loves. It's not your voice. It's not the voice of who you truly are. It's not the voice of the soul and the innocence that we are born with as children, where we know who we are. We know the truth of ourselves and other people, and we can see the light within everyone. We unfortunately forget to see our light in our own divinity because our sacred divine voice has been replaced with sometimes this culmination of the conditioning and the experiences we had. So that can show up as being really negative, being really hard on ourselves, doubting ourselves, even having anxiety, lack of confidence, lack of self-empowerment, lack of self-worth, not valuing ourselves, always just chiding ourselves and blaming ourselves and making everything our fault. So this level of self-compassion is so necessary, because once I was able to do that, everything in my life changed. Now, when I hadn't done that, I was attracting experiences that reflected back to me my own critical thinking, and not critical thinking as in critical reasoning, but I mean self-criticism, right? So I got bullied, at different points in school. I had some really wonderful bosses, to be fair, along my corporate journey, but the last 3 jobs that I had were very toxic. And so my bosses were basically bullies. And there was definitely a lesson there about self-empowerment, but also about self-compassion. So I was able to work on self-empowerment, which is more of a solar plexus chakra issue. And I've made other videos about that. If that's something you're working on, is coming into your power. But the heart is the abode of compassion. And I needed to do all this healing work on compassion in order to come into my power. But they're all connected, right? So the more I came into my power, the more I was also able to be compassionate towards myself. And this is what I want for you. I want you to, first of all, be really mindful of whose voice is it in your head. And then offer this up to the divine. And a goddess that can help you, because as you know, I'm a goddess coach, is the beautiful Buddhist Goddess Kuan Yin. And Quan Yin is the goddess of compassion. I mean, it says that here on her card. This is from Doreen Virtue's deck. And she is the goddess of mercy, grace, wisdom. She helps us to rise like a lotus above the mucky waters of our lives, above those painful experiences. And she helps us to just keep the lesson. And she blesses us with that grace where we can forgive others and we can forgive ourselves and have unconditional compassion for ourselves. So what does that look like? What that looks like is you first become mindful of where you're not compassionate, where maybe you're almost abusive or very critical or mean or unkind towards yourself, as well as others. If we find that we attract people in our life who are mean or judgmental or very gossipy, there's perhaps something in us that needs to be healed around that kind of criticism and judgment. So maybe we don't respect and honor ourselves because we are really hard on ourselves, or maybe we've developed, this habit of being judgmental towards others. And the way we get out of that is through compassion. Compassion for ourselves, knowing that we are divine. Compassion for others, remembering that others are doing the best that they can do at their level of consciousness. However, that does not mean that as we unconditionally offer this compassion towards others, that we accept unconscious or unloving behavior from them. That's something I talk about a lot in my teachings, in my videos on boundary setting, on handling toxic people or situations, where we have to be really protective of our sacred boundaries, how we deserve to be treated. So I want you to know that just because, you are opening to being compassionate does not mean you put up with disrespect or people who dishonor you or mistreat you. It means you can have compassion for them, that they are at a point of their journey where perhaps they have not connected to the heart of compassion within themselves, and they feel the need to act this way, perhaps to feel good about themselves. Because really, we're all just trying to feel good about ourselves. We're all trying to remember who we are, our divine nature, which is divine perfection, which is wholeness, which is innocent, which always feels good and peaceful. That's your soul. That's who you are. But unfortunately, when we're disconnected and we're not aware of that, we can go about trying to get that need met of reconnecting with who we are in very unconscious and unloving ways. So if someone else is doing that for you, being compassionate towards them means understanding perhaps why they are like this. And again, those of us who are highly sensitive, we already can see people's hearts. We can see their deeper intentions. We can see that they're in pain, and that's why they might be acting that way. But that doesn't mean that, although we're not judging them and being compassionate, that we accept that kind of behavior in our life, right? So it's that beautiful balance. And this really is that demonstration of having love and compassion and respect for yourself. So another way to think of this with the goddess Kuan Yin is to surrender wherever you are not being compassionate with yourself, and ask to see yourself through your soul's eyes, through her eyes. Kuan Yin, these goddesses are also sacred feminine aspects of her own nature. So she is the source of compassion inside of you. So offer up your judgments, offer up all the ways in which you're hard on yourself, all that negative self-talk, and ask that, may I see through my soul's eye, myself and others in this situation, right? That can be very, very helpful in helping you to remember that you are divine, and you can see from your spirit's eyes what the truth is. And then offer yourself so much compassion and gentleness and tenderness. And then the other, tip that I want to offer you, my loves, is to forgive yourself every single day, right? For anything, if you made a mistake, just correct it. That's it. Course correct. No need to punish yourself, guilt yourself, right? It happened. Next time, you'll be more mindful, more conscious. And then if you do it again, you'll still forgive yourself. Now, again, we want to learn and take responsibility, but we want to do this in a way that's very forgiving and compassionate towards ourselves, because that's what's really going to help us heal ourselves. And I invite you to even and especially forgive the part of you that is self-critical, right? So whether we want to call that your ego, or the human voice versus the spirit's voice, it's all one. It's all you. And what we want to offer that part of you is unconditional compassion and witnessing. Maybe that's your inner child that needs healing and she's crying out for attention, for affection, for validation, for approval, for support, to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be loved. So be with her. Hold her, let her pour her heart out to you, and receive her with all of your heart, with full compassion. Hold that sacred space for yourself. When you can do this for yourself, you're also now showing up in relationships where you don't need people to do for you what you're unable to do for yourself. So we can get into pretty unhealthy relationship patterns, especially with our love life, where we constantly attract people that trigger us so much because deep down we haven't yet learned how to be there for ourselves, how to support ourselves. So when we become our own therapist, our own healer, our own guide, and hold space for ourselves, then we're not showing up in a relationship from a place of need. We're coming from a place of a healed and whole and happy and vibrant heart, blessed ourselves, and there to offer this blessing and share in divine love with someone else, and then being able to see them through our God eyes, through our soul eyes, through our goddess eyes, and extend that beautiful gift of complete presence and non-judgment and compassion for them. What does that do? When you see the divine in another person, you bring the divine out in them. You bring the best out in them. It's making me smile because my hubby Eric and I have been together 10 years, and this year we'll be celebrating 10 years together and 7 years married, and our love is so blissful, and our family members make fun of us because they're like, you guys are still in your honeymoon phase, and but they also celebrate us, saying that you guys love each other so much. And the secret there is, first of all, that before we even came together, we had done a lot of work on ourselves, on our own journey, in our own way. Eric did it in his divine masculine way, and I did it in my divine feminine way of the self-healing, right? Through compassion and self-love. And because I was already at this place, I believe what we do for each other, why our love feels so divine, is that we always have each other's best interests at heart. We see the best in each other. So even if something is said or done, you don't jump to a negative conclusion right away and judge and feel hurt and abandoned. We trust that the person had a good intention, and we talk in a compassionate way, and then we can work things out really lovingly and gently, right? So again, people make fun of us because we don't fight. We have these heart-to-heart conversations, and we can be really honest with each other because we'll hold that space for each other, because we learned how to hold that space for ourselves before we even entered a relationship. So when you are able to look at another from those eyes of acceptance and unconditional love and compassion, I promise you will bring out the divine within them. You will see their soul. And if they are just not ready and not there, and what you're getting instead is behavior that, again, is not honoring you, is disrespectful, there's some growth and lessons there for you as well, right? So embrace those lessons, but then at the same time, love and respect and honor yourself enough to set healthy boundaries if you need to. So again, we're talking about discernment there, right? Which is not the same, and discernment is really necessary. But then discernment in saying that kind of behavior is disrespectful and it makes me feel disrespected. So we're looking at, the situation and the behavior. We're not making the person bad or punishing them or guilting them, right? And then we can see what we need to do to draw a boundary or to affirm our need for how we expect to be treated. So that is something I really feel like sharing, because those of us who are highly sensitive, sometimes it's very easy for us to be forgiving and compassionate right away. And it's not as easy for us to be discerning and set boundaries, right? Because we think if you're going to unconditionally love someone, that means accepting all their behavior, including that which is not honoring and respectful. And that's not what it means. It means you can unconditionally love and accept them and have that compassion for where they are. And from a place of unconditionally loving and honoring and loving yourself, you are able to know what is and what isn't for your highest good. And then you can speak that compassionately, communicate that with that clarity and that divine wisdom, and like Quan Yin, that divine grace. So there's so much more I can say about this, in terms of healing our inner children and elevating our relationships. So I am actually hosting a online circle that you can join us with for live, or the replay will be available. And if you join, you get lifetime access to it. It's Goddess of Compassion, Heal and Open Your Heart with Quan Yin. And we'll go much deeper into actually healing your heart of old wounds and any patterns that you keep finding yourself stuck in, maybe certain kinds of people or relationships that keep showing up, where we need to really heal your heart, as well as to open your heart to contentment and bliss and have it like blossom as a lotus flower. So when you are this vessel of divine love and compassion, you really become a miracle worker, and you channel miracles, you receive miracles, and you become a vessel of blessings for others on this earth. So I'm excited to share that with you. If you feel called to learn more about that, I'll leave a link, or you can find out more at flourishinggoddessschool.com. So that's where the Quan Yin course will be, my loves. And I also hope you'll come to my website, flourishinggoddess.com, because if you want to connect with Quan Yin, I have a meditation in which he's included, where we do some healing. And it's the 14 goddesses that you'll meet. And we're going to help to heal and open all of your chakras up with 2 goddesses at each one. So that's at flourishinggoddess.com that you can get that at. And there's some more video trainings and beautiful free gifts that I offer when you join the tribe and become a newsletter subscriber. So I hope you'll come and deepen with me on this path. And I'm here to serve you. Leave me a comment to let me know where you will be practicing self-compassion more, right? Maybe where it shows up for you that you are critical or self-sabotaging, or don't forgive yourself, or maybe others. Maybe there's a lot of judgment around that, and how you're going to be connecting with your own inner Quan Yin, that source of grace and wisdom and compassion inside of you, to bring some healing over there and rise above like a lotus flower. We'd love to know that, my loves. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope this served you. Like and subscribe to let me know that you would like more videos like this, because I'm here to serve you. Thank you so much. All my love. Namaste.